After delays, after cancellations, after more delays, it is finally here. Join me, the Uncanny Omar, for my overview of The Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, Volume 3 from DC Comics. Let's get started. So we are finally here. We are at the final volume of Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. This is Volume 3. So here is what the slipcase looks like. You have this amazing image right here of Alec Holland, Swamp Thing. Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, Volume 3. The creators that all worked on this book, Alan Moore, Rick Veitch, John Tolliban, Alfredo Alcala, and Stephen Bissette. And now part of the DC Black Label line. Which really, it was never part of the DC Vertigo line, but I think we all treated it as such because it was Vertigo before Vertigo was even a thing. Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore, Volume 3. DC logo down there, so if you want to shelf it that way. This wonderful, beautiful image that means a lot to so many of us that have read this particular series. And to you too, once you finish reading it, of course. And then the spine on this side. It's a little harder to read, so I'm going to... because as you can see, this stands out when it's hit by the light. Absolute Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. Moore, Veitch, Tolliban, Alcala, and Bissette. Volume 3 in Roman numerals. And DC Black Label. Let's look at it underneath the dust jacket. You have this image right here of something. Look at all the detail in this size of a book. My goodness. This has, again, that cloth felt to it that volumes 1, 2, and 3 did. You got to see that. And then the back of the book with just the plants, giving us a little bit of hope. And the DC Black Label line. Now, normally when I've done these in the past, I've compared them to the Saga of Swamp Thing hardcovers. Yeah, those are all in a box right now. I'm still in the process of unboxing, moving things, and putting shelves together. But maybe I'll do an overview of the entire series one day and comparing them. But let's go ahead and crack this open, look at the artwork, and talk about some of the stories in here without giving too many spoilers. Alright, before cracking the book open, it does come with a little leaflet like I like to keep around, and I think a few of you commented on my videos that say we're all leaflet brothers and sisters, all 12 of us, but here it shows you the ISBN, because luckily it's not on the book itself. I love when they do these things. Dark Horse does the same thing, Marvel had done the same thing with some of the Platinum editions, but this is the little leaflet. The book does retail for the very important price of $99.99. So because it was solicited for so long and in the printers for so long, I think that's why we got that price instead of the $125 that I'm sure they would have charged us this year. All right, so here we have Absolute Swamp Thing Volume 3. All the credits, including the very important Tatiana Wood. Wally Wood's wife, who was the original colorist on this book. So we are talking about brand new colors again. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and where you could get the truest colors in case you don't have the comics. But it is all new recolored work. So this collects the final issues of Alan Moore's run, collecting issues 51 through 64 of Swamp Thing. But it also collects the bonus story, the Superman story from DC Comics Presents number 85. The book has 416 pages. And we kick it off with the return. By the way, it's a little hard to talk about this because we're into the third volume. So if you've not read the previous two, even though I'm not going to give that much spoilers, I like everybody to go into these things completely without any expectations or completely blinded because... yeah, sometimes that works better. Sometimes books get overhyped. I know, it happens. And I'm pretty sure, when people hype up Swamp Thing, some people are like, not for me. Yeah, you guys hype this up way too much. I'm not damn sorry. It deserves all the hype that it gets. It is the perfect book. So, just in case, again, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what happened in the previous issues. So, we kick it off with the return of Alec Holland, Swamp Thing, coming back from hell. He's getting the help of Deadman, Phantom Stranger, and of course, everybody's favorite, Sting. Just kidding, John Constantine. But the important thing about this particular story is not his return from hell, but what's going on with Abigail right here, with Abby. So, this is a really good social commentary on what was going on at the time. So, apparently a photograph had gotten out of her, well, doing the hanky panky with Swamp Thing because they're in love. And, you know, this is a crime against nature in the state that they're in. So she gets thrown in jail. She goes to court. People are telling her to get the hell out of town. She's a sicko. How can she not find a real man? They accuse her of even like things like child molestation, because if you're going to do something like that to a plant, you're definitely going to do that to a child. So she decides, you know, somebody posts bail for her, and she just skips town. So where does she go? The most scummiest of streets, Gotham City. And I think that's mainly because Alan Moore wanted to probably write Batman again. So that's where this takes us. It takes us to Gotham. And in Gotham is where Alan Moore really stretches out Swamp Thing's roots. Makes him into this god, like, because he is pissed that they are putting his love, the love of his life, in handcuffs. Like, and she's in shackles. So he comes in to free her. And they get Lex Luthor involved. You know, some of the city turns on each other. And one of my favorite stories, if not my favorite story, is right here in this giant-sized, spectacular issue. And I don't know if this is my favorite Alan Moore story or if it's just my favorite Swamp Thing story, but this is in the Garden of Earthly Delights. Oh my gosh. Not only do you get Batman in this, but you get this confrontation with Swamp Thing. And, you know, at this point, Swamp Thing has just come to terms with what he is. He has learned to put Alec Holland behind, and he is now just a plant god. And that's what this is. There's a huge confrontation in Gotham City. Honestly, this type of event, I could kind of see it, you know, going for like 6-issue crossovers these days. It was all done in a giant size issues. Yes, there was a prelude with the previous issue, issue 52, but in this one, it's all resolved in issue 53, and it's so awesome. And, you know, Batman warns him, don't you come to my damn city again. I'll kill you if you do that. So there's a lot of beautiful imagery, and probably one of the main reasons why I enjoy this particular story so much is the return of John Tuttleben, who is a awesome artist, and I love the sketchy look to his art. Now, unfortunately, something happens to Alec Holland at the end of that story, and that changes the book, going from existential horror to more of a sci-fi story. And this is where he gets really interesting. Now, that could be a couple of things. Could be that Alan Moore really did want to tell a story about Swamp Thing going off into space, building his own planet, running into Adam Strange, running into Metron and Darkseid. But could have been that editorial wanted him to do this. Could have been that Alan Moore was super busy with this little story called Watchmen. I don't know if y'all have heard of it or not. It might be available in Absolute Edition or many editions every year that it's printed. But that's where this takes us. This takes us out in the outer space. Of course, we still have the dealings of Abby down here on Earth, but Swamp Thing is gone. Like, he is in outer space, dealing with characters from the DC universe that you normally wouldn't see him dealing with. Or, when you think of Swamp Thing, you definitely don't think of characters like Metron and Darkseid. And that's the thing about this time of DC Comics, is that this is before Vertigo. This is when it was all one universe. So all these characters' lives are all set in the same universe. And it wasn't until Nancy Collins' run that DC decided to make the Vertigo imprint. And it kind of became its own universe. But long before that, we had Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. But there's some amazing images here. Like that. That is like a throwback to a big Jack Kirby splash page right there. Now, whether Alec Holland, Swamp Thing come back to Earth or not, that's up to you to find out. I'm pretty sure you're smart enough to figure it out by now that... never mind. But this story does have a beginning and it does have an ending. Despite of how people feel about the last story arcs of Alan Moore's run on Swamp Thing, it's still some of the best comic books put out there ever. To me, it's one great long story from beginning to end. I loved it. I find it interesting that this is where they place the DC Comics Presents 85. And I guess, as a completist, you have to have it. But it's just, after reading this beautiful ending, you get to this. And it is a beautiful ending. I don't give a crap if I'm hyping it up. Sorry. And if you don't like it, to each their own. But, yeah, interesting that this is after that wonderful wrap-up ending, and it's this fight with Superman. And then we get extras. So let's look at the extras here. Learning to Love the Alien, the John Tuttleben story there. And this is an outro from John Tuttleben in January of 2021. That is one thing that was missing from this book, was an introduction. Used to something this epic having an introduction, and the previous trade paperbacks, or rather the hardcovers, did. So let's talk about that, because I'm sure this is all the script right here. I'm sure that is something that's coming to mind. How dare they recolor Swamp Thing? I can't believe they did it. Some people like the new colors. Some people think the new colors are better. Other people are more old school and would appreciate the older colors. So where's the best place to get the original colors? Well, that's of course the comic books. But the next best place to get the original colors are those old crappy brown trade paperbacks. I'll pop it up somewhere on the screen here, over there. Because those are the truest colors to the comics, because by the time we get to the hardcovers, those colors are touched up some. So even those aren't the truest colors. People that are saying, oh, they should have used the hardcover colors. Well, even those aren't the original colors. If you want the original colors, again, go with the comic, or the closest thing you're going to find is those old crappy trade paperbacks. I say crappy because they fell apart. I know, I had them. I had to buy volume 3 twice. But, some people appreciate this, and this is a wonderful explanation as to why they did the colors. So you have the original colors here, and this is what I do in my videos. Cool, so I'm glad they did it. And then you have this color right here, and they explain what the new colors add to the story, what the new colors have the ability of doing that the old colors didn't. Probably a lot better than I do. And here's your biography of all the people that helped out on the book. That is an awesome piece right there by Tuttleben. And as far as the binding, because I know that first printing of Volume 1 had issues with the binding, mainly depending on where it was printed. If you were printed in Mexico, A-OK. The first printing printed in Canada, no bueno. So, it does come with a ribbon? Hell yes. Sewn binding and no issues with that eye. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful presentation. Regardless of how you feel about the color, to me, it's one of the most perfect comic books that has ever saw the day of light. And the reason why I have this show are stories like this. And that, as they say, is that. If you are interested in purchasing this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, cheapgraphicnovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this Absolute Edition. Let me know in the comments down below if you are picking it up, if you're going to stick to your trade paperbacks, your hardcovers, your box set, your original trades, the big brown ones I was talking about, or the single issues. Let me know all those comments down below. If you have any more questions, if you've read this stuff, what you think about it. Is it overrated? Is it overhyped? Or does it really truly live up to what everybody says about this amazing series? Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We are on Spreadshop and Patreon, amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. But more importantly, everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.